Good morning. This is Darren with BestAutoDetailingTips.com. Detailing made simple. And as a starting point, I'm going to point out a big fat irony here. The irony is this: my tagline, detailing made simple, and yet I make these videos that are so long and detailed that it's like, wow, that doesn't make sense. And I've had a few comments. Yes, I can be long-winded, but it's due to a couple things. A, everywhere I go in life, it seems that society wants to oversimplify things. Now, me as a person, I've got areas of my life, like you're here trying to learn about cleaning your car, detailing, whatever. My own world, I find that I go to websites, I talk to people, and I walk away and it's like, wow, pretty good information, but yet can I put it into play? Did I walk away with something useful? So there's the irony, is that although detailing can be more simplified, it really is it's like for every rule, there's 5 different exceptions to the rule. And so in order to actually give you something that you can walk away with and put into practice into your world, it just requires more than I want to deliver on these videos. So bear with me. It's really, I'm just trying to give you guys something that you can walk away and use. So with that said, I had someone write in. I think it was a gentleman named Maurice. So for Maurice, if you're watching, here's to you, brother. So, dilution ratios. I've talked extensively. I've got many videos on cleaning different parts of the car. For whatever reason, I've started with the interior of the car as far as my video tutorials go. Eventually, I will get to the exterior. I know the interior doesn't make great headlines. You know, it seems like guys love to watch the videos about color sanding a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or whatever. Eventually I'll get into that. But for right now, Maurice asked a great question, and this is where I need your guys' help, because I can't be in everyone's head. I've been in the business so long now, I forget what it's like to be a true beginner, a newbie, a noob as my kids call it. Dad, you're a noob. Okay, well, I'm not a noob when it comes to detailing anymore. So this is where you guys can help me. You can also help me by spreading the word, okay? So with that said, dilution ratios. His specific question was, can I get more detailed in the actual dilution ratios and when I choose to use which dilution, which product, so on and so forth. So let's cover that quickly. I've got all my products. Actually, I'm going to pull back so we can see a little bit better. Okay, let's get into dilution ratios. But what I want to start out with first is talking about the difference between retail versus professional. Here we have what would be considered a retail product. The problem with retail is that it's been dumbed down for the masses, the herds, the public. It is ready to use. There's no mixing, there's no dilution ratios. Just use it straight from the bottle. If you want to simplify your world even further, and let's say you are just concerned about taking care of your 1 car or 2 cars, this might be the better option for you. I will have some products that I recommend. Some of them are true retail, which means like this product, Meguiar's. You can find this on the shelves at Walmart, AutoZone, whatever, O'Reilly. I don't know what's in your area or what part of the country you're in, but you can literally find some of these on the shelves at the market, or you can order them through my website. I'm also going to have some links for ready-to-use products that are still professional grade, made by manufacturers that deal in the professional industry, but is still packaged as a retail product for a individual type of use rather than a professional or a driveway detailer kind of guy. So ready to use. You can really simplify your world. But the problem is they're still less effective than the true professional line. So let's get into that. Now, Meguiar's, I recommend many Meguiar's products. It's not because I'm a Meguiar's spokesperson and there's no incentive for me to push Meguiar's onto you more than any other product. Yes, do I get paid? I get paid in being what's called an affiliate. So when you use my website to link to, like, for example, autogeek.net, I get a small commission. And when I mean small, I mean tiny, as in very little. But it helps. It's how I supplement my income. It's how I'm going to transition out of the physical world of detailing in however many years into the the online world of internet marketing. So that's where you can help me. I make these videos to help you. You can help me. So just so for the sake of clarity and transparency, that's how it works. So professional products, they come in a gallon size. I had someone else write in and they went looking for this at Walmart or some other retail outlet thinking they could find it. You will not find this at a retail outlet. You can only find this online, or if you happen to live near a detail supply place and they carry it, you can buy it from them. Preferably, I prefer you buy it through my link because, once again, that helps me. So, dilution ratios. This product, all-purpose cleaner, and as a rule, when it comes to any product, retail or not, you always start by reading the directions. Unfortunately, that's just a starting point because even the manufacturers themselves can contradict. For example, this one here from Meguiar's, it will say, use on a clean, cool surface. Okay, well, it says it's a cleaner conditioner. If I want to clean it by using their cleaner, how am I going to use it on a clean surface? So what do you do with that? That's a huge contradiction. But as a rule, I still am going to read the directions. Everything past that will be based on a case-by-case and experience. And it's what's called off-label use. Now, I use many products in what I call off-label use. The all-purpose cleaner is not one of them. It is truly an all-purpose cleaner. Now, reading the directions, we have dilution ratios. Heavy strength, 4:1. Medium strength, 10:1. Now, because I use this along with this super degreaser for all my interior cleaning, I am going to dilute this across the board at the what they call medium strength, which is 10:1. What that means is 10 parts. For every 10 parts of water, I'm going to add 1 part of this. So whether that part is a gallon or an ounce, it doesn't matter. It's just 10:1. If you were to get Meguiar's dedicated marked or dedicated labeled bottle, like this sprayer bottle, which is all-purpose cleaner, it has the dilution ratios right there on the side for you. It makes it super easy. So 4:1, which is extra strength, I do not use 4:1. I use 10:1. So you would fill this bottle up here with water. Now, as an added note, what I personally do is I use distilled water. I get it at like Walmart. It's very cheap. It's like, I don't know, anywhere from like 97 cents to $1.20 a gallon. Why do I use distilled water? Because it is the most pure water you can get, which means if the concentrate is not having to compensate for impurities in the water, it's just an added way to bump up the effectiveness of the product. It's not required by any means, but it's like if you're familiar with soft water in your house versus hard water, and you know how you can use less detergent with soft water, It's the same concept or principle. But that's just something I do. Okay, so I don't overthink this. I always mix it 10-to-1. Why do I do that? Because I know that I'm also going to use super degreaser, which is a heavier duty cleaner and degreaser on the heavier soiled areas of the car. So in response to the question, I always do it 10-to-1. How do I pick and choose though? Well, it's just based on experience. So I have a couple of examples. I have 2 floor mats. This floor mat is from an Escalade. It's an '03, has 100,000 miles on it. You can see up here, very little use, very little dirt. Down here, it's pretty grimy, pretty dirty. So I'm going to automatically reach for the super degreaser to use on this area here because it's just that dirty. Now this is the floor mat out of my Denali, which is actually that's an '03 too now I think about it, and it has about 80,000 miles on it. And you'll notice that it's far less dirty than the one out of the Escalade. So this floor mat, I would use the all-purpose cleaner because it's not that dirty, and it's always going to be diluted down 10-to-1. Because whenever I come across dirt, whether it's on a door panel, a door handle, the steering wheel, whatever, that's excessively dirty, and I know excessive is relative. One man's excessive is another man's normal, so only you can decide. But because I keep and use both products, I don't need to vary the dilution ratios at all. Now, if you want to keep things simple in your world, for example, let's say you only want to buy this and you don't want to buy both. That's fine. That's where you can custom blend it. And so therefore, if it was my world, I would probably keep 2 bottles around. I would have one diluted at what they call the heavy strength, which is 4-to-1, and I would have one diluted 10-to-1, which is medium strength. So that's a way you can just buy one product. But I have tried that personally, and yes, it will be more effective at the heavier forms of dirt, but it still will not be as effective as this. So it's a case by case. I don't know how dirty your car is. You may have a car that you're the original owner, but it may be 5 years old, and now suddenly you decide, wow, honey, the car is getting pretty dirty. It's time to do something about it. And you may have excessive or areas with excessive buildup of dirt. So yes, will this work? It will work. And 99% of the cases, you'll just have to use it more, as in more repeat applications, in order to break down that dirt and that grease, because not all dirt is created equal. The dirt you get on your floor mats is generally going to be different than the dirt you get on the grab handles, the steering wheel, or the seat. That will tend to be mixed with body oils and so forth, and so this is more effective on those areas where it's excessive. But you can get away with just this one product. Now, so to clarify, this I always dilute 10-to-1. I keep it in my bottle. It's always the same mixture. I don't have to overthink it because I know that when it comes to heavier dirt, I'm going to reach for this. Now this product, I always dilute, even though it says 4-to-1 or 10-to-1, I actually dilute this 5-to-1. It's not really a halfway between heavy duty and medium duty, but it's just what I do. And to me, it's the next step above the 10-to-1 of this. I'm going to do this 5-to-1. So once again, 5 parts water to 1 part concentrate. Now they make a dedicated bottle somewhere, which I think is the one I dropped. super degreaser. Now you have the custom blend ratios here, 4:1, 10:1. Like I said, I do it 5:1. You don't have to overthink it. 10:1 is fine. 4:1 is fine. You decide what works for you. Because I use so much of it, I actually mix it in this 5-gallon drum container. It's got the markings on the side, 5 gallons, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's got the half markings, so I can use, for example, I can fill this up with a half gallon of this, because if I were to mix this full gallon into that 5-gallon drum, that would be 4:1. Why don't I use it 4:1? Honestly, I don't really have an answer for you. Maybe it's just me being cheap, or maybe it's me because I know that I'm not using it on engines only. I'm using it on upholstery. I want it to be a little weaker than what they would call full strength, because I use it on engines, wheel wells, tires. I use it on carpeting. I use it on leather. And it's completely off-label use. Nowhere on these instructions will you see that will they give any instructions for using it on the interior. And in fact, on the front it says exterior use. Well, guess what? I've learned that it's completely safe, for the most part, on any material on the inside. And that's part of why I dilute it down 5:1. That's the ratio that I have found that makes it far more effective than this, but still completely safe. Now the only exception is I do not spray either of these products directly on the instrument cluster, any of the clear plastic lenses of gauges, or the gauge cluster cover, or on any of the DVD infotainment, whatever they call them, the screens for the navigation systems, any DVD player screens. I do not spray it directly on those. I will simply clean those with a microfiber and straight water. So that's the only exception. Every other material I can use both these products on, completely safe. But with that said, as a rule, I always test first, especially when it comes to leather. Now I've got many videos on leather cleaning, and leather can get very dirty. Leather is covered or made or finished with a clear protective coating in virtually 99% of all cases, regardless of how much your vehicle costs, regardless of whether they call it full grain leather, top grain leather, Napa leather. Virtually 99% of the time it's going to be covered or finished in a clear protective coating. You've got full aniline, semi-aniline. That has to do with the dyeing process, but the good news is that it's like the clear coat on your car. So really what you're cleaning is not truly natural leather. It's natural leather that's been coated with a synthetic engineered coating. So those products are safe. So I hope that answered your question, Maurice, in 1,000, actually probably 5,000 words or less. How's that for cutting to the chase? Once again, I want you to be able to walk away with something with enough information that you can put it into practice, into your world. Unfortunately, even though I call this detailing simplified, in order to simplify the process and to weed through all the hype and misrepresentation and endless opinions that you can find out there, it's important to give you enough information so that you can simplify your world. Okay, since we're on the subject of dilution ratios, there's other products that I'm a big fan of. For example, someone else wrote in, they asked about a wheel cleaner. They want something that can spray on the wheels and just hose off. Well, if you have a pressure washer, that's possible, but for the most part, you're still going to have to use some form of agitation process. So, Meguiar's Wheel Brightener, dilution ratio on this is 4:1. Once again, I actually dilute it down even more, less concentrated than that. I use this 5, 6:1. You can pick and choose yourself. Personally, I do it about 5:1. And once again, I mix it in a 5-gallon drum because I go through so much of it. And I will mix half of this with about 4 gallons of that. And what I mean by that is I will add half of this to the 4-gallon mark on the bottle or the container of this. Officially, I don't know what dilution ratio that is. You can work out the math in your head if you want. That's just how I do it professionally. So that's my wheel cleaner. I've been using it for decades. It is an acid-based cleaner. In my wheel cleaning video, I will go into detail as to why you do not need to worry about the old pH balance BS of marketing and advertising. Hyper dressing. It is the dressing that I use. Once again, a Meguiar's product. It's not the only stuff that works. It's just that it's what I use professionally because, well, the products work for one, and most people recognize the name. They've been in the business for like 100 years. Anyhow, for tires, I use this straight, but it is a water-based dressing that can be diluted down based on your needs, because I dress the wheel wells. If the wheel well is plastic coated versus the higher end cars now have what's like a fabric, not coating, but a fabric wheel well finish to them. I think they use that for noise deadening purposes. It also looks black more than the plastic wheel wells. So for when it comes to engines, wheel wells, I will dilute this down 5:1. Tires, I use it straight because I want them shinier versus less shiny. So the dilution, once again, and you can get a dedicated bottle for that Meguiar's product, just like all their other Meguiar's product. I think I've covered it as far as dilution ratios go, retail versus professional. Hope that has answered your questions. Hope it has answered additional questions for some of you readers out there. And to all you women out there, welcome aboard. It's even though the industry is dominated by men, cars and men seem to go hand in hand. Not only have I had women work for me because they're car freaks just like us guys are. I've had one of my sisters actually work for me for about a year in the detailing business. My wife actually will go out with me on the weekends and detail cars right along with me. She's a car nut herself. We talk about cars. We check cars out on the street. She comes with me. She's much more of a people person than I am, so she'll sit there and chew the fat with my customers while I get busy doing the cars. But she focuses on the interior generally. I focus on the exterior. She's very detail oriented. So the point is this is a woman's world also. I even have a page on my website dedicated to women to try to explain things in a way that they can relate to. As one quick point, I use a woman's makeup brush as one of many interior detail brushes that I use. So how's that for a woman's world? This is softer and more gentle, and I use it on those delicate areas like the navigation screens and so forth, because this, while it is very critical because it's got longer, stiffer bristles to get inside the air vents, this is more delicate and soft. I mean, women use it on their face. So how's that for involving the women and a woman's world? Okay, till next time, we will see you on the other side.